Let's get to what I consider the crux of this offseason. This is what the rest of this offseason revolves around for me, and it's a player for player trade. So the Jets are going to make a call to their old friend, the Carolina Panthers. So we know we have some trading history with them from the Sam Darnold trade. And what we also know about the Carolina Panthers, especially this past season, is their offensive line is in shambles. And they are desperate for people to play offensive line, most specifically offensive tackle. So looking at that and looking at the situation with George Fant, I think George Fant is going to ask for a raise this offseason, and I think George Fant is going to want to stay at left tackle after how great he just played this past year, and rightfully so. If I was George Fant's agent, I'd be telling him to do exactly that. And I also don't think the Jets want to give George Fant a raise. I also don't think they want him to stay at left tackle. I think they believe he's their right tackle where they can pay him a lesser amount of money and still have a quality player. And if I'm George Fant, I want to go to a new place where I'm going to get paid. So rather than deal with a holdout, what if we call the Panthers and we execute a little player for player swap to bring in some more offensive talent for Zach Wilson? We'll have Mekhi Becton reclaim his role at left tackle, and we are trading George Fant straight up for DJ Moore. Now we have our go-to receiver. We have a guy that can pair with Elijah Moore. I wanted more. We got more. Now we have two of them. And you had mentioned in your pieces on the receivers about versatility and about being able to play multiple roles. Well, that's DJ Moore to a T. This is a guy that can do all the stuff that Elijah Moore can do with the jet sweeps, any amount of quick screens, bubbles, etc. He's also a downfield threat. He's consistent over the middle. He makes catches in traffic. I think this guy is a superstar that's just been hidden in Carolina. And I really think that you could be able to make this trade happen. So rather than worrying about attacking free agency and spending a bunch of money on a Chris Godwin, or if Devontae Adams by some miracle shakes free, opening up the Brinks truck for him, not that those are bad players, I think this can be a savvy move to use the assets you already have. And rather than lose Fant to a holdout or trade him for something else, I think you can make a really, really big move here. Let's swing for the fences. Let's bring in DJ Moore. So terms of players brought back to start things off: Tevin Coleman, Braxton Berrios, Morgan Moses, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, Foley Fatukasi, Ryan Griffin, Joe Flacco, and we are trading George Fant for DJ Moore. Matt, what do you think of that start?
Wow. That trade's a big one. And yeah, it's something I kind of agree with. And I've sort of been floating out there on Twitter about this potential nightmare situation where Fant wants a new contract, where he wants to really cash in on that great season at left tackle. And if that happens, yeah, this kind of trade would be very favorable, especially if we're bringing in a guy like Moore, who I agree would be a perfect addition and complement to Davis and Moore, to other Moore, some more Moores. It's a great trade, and I think that it's simple and it's more than realistic as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the biggest thing here for me, is that I legitimately could envision this happening because the Panthers are downright desperate for offensive linemen, and they're a little too far in the draft where you're hoping maybe a tackle falls, but maybe they're not comfortable with the tackles they have at the top. We also just saw Matt Rule talk about why they didn't take Rashawn Slater, and it's because he didn't fit their measurements for offensive tackle. Well, George Fant's 6'6" and 320, so he's going to fit their measurements for offensive tackle just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's true. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that can jump right in and be their left tackle going forward. And who knows what they're doing at quarterback? They're kind of a mess right now. So I can see Rule wanting to build up that offensive line, build through the trenches, much like the Jets have been doing.